Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a very old woman. She had grown quite old, and she was all alone in this world. Her husband had passed away many years ago. And now she lived in a small, simple house. Beside her house stood a large, ancient tree whose shade felt like a place of comfort and peace. Every day, the women of the village would gather under that tree. They would sit beside the old woman, talk about their lives, and seek her advice. She was known throughout the village for her wisdom. Life in the village, however, was not easy. Sometimes the rains would come, and sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes the crops would grow well, and other times they would fail. One day, as the old woman sat quietly in her home, a young married woman named Chan came to visit her. Chan looked worried and tired. With a heavy heart, she said, "My husband went to the city for work. It has been a month, and I haven't heard from him. He hasn't sent any money, and my children are hungry. I am all alone and very worried." The old woman looked at her gently and asked, "What do you think has happened to him?" Chan lowered her eyes and replied, "I feel like he has forgotten us, or maybe he has left us. What if he couldn't find a job?" The old woman smiled softly and said, "Do not let negative thoughts fill your mind. When we think negatively, we invite more pain, but when we think positively, good things begin to happen. You must be patient and keep hope alive." Chan sighed and said, "But how can I think positively when everything around me is going wrong?" The old woman leaned closer and said, "Let me tell you a story." She began, "Once, there was a young boy who was very poor. He had no job, no money, and no family. One day, he sat by a river, crying. An old woman saw him and asked, 'Why are you crying?' The boy said, 'I have nothing in life. How can I ever be happy?' The old woman smiled and said to him, 'Look around you. You have this flowing river, these beautiful trees, and the warm sun above you. There is beauty everywhere. If you keep thinking that you have nothing, you will always feel sad. But if you realize what you do have, you will find peace." The old woman paused and continued. The boy stopped crying. He looked around, and slowly, he began to understand. From that day on, his life changed not because of magic, but because his thinking changed. Then she looked at Chand and said, "You can change your life too, just by changing your thoughts." Chand asked quietly, "Will it really make a difference?" The old woman nodded, "Yes, it will." With a little hope in her heart, Chand returned home. From that day on, she began to think positively. She worked hard, took care of her children, and held on to hope. Days passed, and one morning, she received a letter. Her hands trembled as she opened it. It was from her husband. He had found a job. Filled with joy, Chand ran as fast as she could to the old woman and shared the good news. The old woman smiled warmly and said, "You see, positive thinking always brings a good outcome." From that day forward, whenever the villagers faced any problem, they would come to the old woman, and she would always remind them of one simple truth: to think positively, stay patient, and never lose hope. We should always think positive.